Okay, are we ready?
Yep,
Oh my
let's
God,
go.
I'm like nervous.
Me
Why
too.
am I nervous?
Me too.
Okay, am I recording in Riverside? I don't even know. Okay, we have our headphones, we have our mic, we have water.
It's like we're doing this for the first time. 3, 2.
Hi, Dee.
Hi, Dee.
So the season came out months ago at this point, but I still cannot stop consuming Secret Lives of Mormon Wives content. I share
Oh my
this with you
gosh.
because you are my source of all reality TV. So while I have been converted in the name of Joseph, Taylor, Frankie, Paul Smith, we trust, I'm even in like a Facebook group now about the show.
What? Are you really?
Yes, that's how I stay up to date, like that they're even posting like new reels and TikToks and stuff. Like I can't even stay on top of it, that I need to be updated via Facebook too about their posts.
I need to know about this Facebook group. I want to be in it.
Okay, I'll invite you.
Okay, thank you. Well, on the topic of reality TV, let's quickly discuss our plan for our bonus series.
So anyone who consumes true crime content regularly understands me when I say that researching and diving really deep into these cases becomes this like really heavy feeling.
Absolutely. So that's why we're flipping the script with a bonus series called Cameras and Chaos. On these episodes, I get to teach Danielle everything she never knew she needed to know about reality TV drama. From catfights to secret scandals, cheating, lawsuits, and even real-life crimes, I'm here to break it down for Danielle and for you.
Expect lots of me going, wait, what? And Drew trying to explain it all while we all forget about our problems and dive into these people and their messy problems.
These much-needed breathers from the dark cases we usually cover will be streaming between main episodes of the podcast.
But eventually we might move them over to a Patreon of some sort because
A girl's gotta get these bills paid, honey.
So once you see our first episode drop, grab your popcorn, put on your best shocked face,
And turn on Cameras and Chaos, where reality TV's drama meets true crime curiosity.
All right, so you are back in London. Can you tell the people what you're working on?
Oh my gosh, like such a whirlwind of back and moving into London. I jumped right into working on the new West End production of Burlesque the Musical. While I am not in the cast, I'm working behind the scenes, across the board with so many different like little hats that I'm wearing, but like the cast is phenomenal, the show is phenomenal. If you're in London, you need to check out Burlesque the Musical. That's my senseless plug, but it is such a good show, and for the people who are fans of the movie, you will be even more fans of the show.
And what's crazy is we saw the movie together. You don't remember that, but I remember.
I don't remember it, but I do slightly remember being in a movie theater watching the movie. I just didn't remember that it was with you, but that
To
makes
be
my heart
fair,
happy.
I think you had already seen it like 3 times when you saw it with me.
Okay.
To be fair.
Yeah, I definitely saw the movie multiple times. Like, it was like, I remember thinking, like, the amount of times I've seen Burlesque was the amount of same times that I saw Moulin Rouge when that first came out.
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy because, like, I never thought that this would be, like, my first big job in London. And it not being a performer, which has been so cool to, like,
Right.
see the other side of how shows get done. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
explain to people in the US what the West End is. So people here in America know Broadway.
Yes.
So explain the West
it's the
End.
same thing, the same union. We have the same unions, equity that Broadway does. There's just like a few differences as far as like how casting goes from like the US to England. But in all reality, like the West End and Broadway are the exact same. Like the show quality is the same that you would see on a Broadway show. Sometimes a lot of
amazing.
shows will start here on the West End and then they will transfer over to Broadway, which like our fingers are crossed that that Burlesque is getting moved to Broadway at some point. But the fans have been loving it. Like they've been showing up in their sequins and they're like pink and everything, and it's been so cool to experience.
That is so amazing. So amazing.
I know.
So happy for you.
know.
I love it.
I love you.
All right, are we ready to get into it?
5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do it.
Hi,
Hi, everyone.
everyone.
Welcome to the Forensic Files Duo podcast, where we recap, review, and provide updates on the cases featured on the true crime TV show Forensic Files. I'm Drew, and I knew nothing about true crime until we started this podcast.
And I'm Danielle, and True Crime Raised Me.
If you're listening to us for the very first time and want to hear more about our friendship and how we became the forensics duo many moons ago, head over to episode 1 for the whole backstory. But real quick, we have been best friends since freshman year of high school.
We competed in an acting club called Forensics in the duo category, where you act out scenes from a play. It had nothing to do with forensics science. Not only can you not touch your scene partner in our forensics, you cannot even look at them.
But listen, if everyone is going to assume we were sassy little Sherlock solving crime in high school, who are we to disrupt their fabulous perspective of us?
Who are we to tell them that we were such extra little theater kids that when they told us chairs were our only props that were allowed, we literally bedazzled the life out of them?
Yes, we did, and not with a trashy bedazzler. Nay, we did it the honorable way, using our mom's hot glue gun.
Adding all the lace, all the rhinestones that our hearts desired.
And do you think we had just basic transitions during our performance? Are you mad?
We coordinated epic snaps routines, of course, ones that indicated time traveling and got us coined the Snaps Duo.
Have we ever let it go that we lost states by 0.01 point?
We will never.
Never.
Welcome, everybody, to season 2.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe we're in season 2.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So we didn't really announce we were going on a hiatus, but we didn't really announce it to each other, to be honest.
For everyone's knowledge, just know that we will take the summer to reconvene because Danielle has kids and I move countries. So who knows what next summer will be. Okay, now back to the episode and time for our regular disclaimer.
We understand that we will be discussing a lot of sensitive topics, so although we may laugh at times, please remember that we are laughing at ourselves and ourselves always. We are not making light of what the victims and their families have gone through and may be continuing to go through, but I do have to say, in this episode, the killer is going to be destroyed, and I am here for it. So don't kill anyone if it's mutual respect you are looking for.
And in an effort to use the public's overall interest in the show Forensic Files and leverage the power of digital media, once the episode coverage is over, we will highlight a missing persons case.
Today's episode is listed on Wikipedia as Season 14, Episode 14, called Fate Date.
So do we have any info on the city at this time?
Yes. In 2004, Tulsa was the second largest city in Oklahoma. It was fairly diverse, with a growing Hispanic population and a strong Native American presence. It was historically an oil and energy powerhouse, but in 2004, it was diversifying its economy, investing in aerospace, telecommunications, and manufacturing. Companies like American Airlines, Williams Companies, and Quick Trip were major employers. The city was beginning to see more white-collar growth, but unemployment and job transitions were still a major concern for the city in its post-9/11 transition, with American Airlines being a major employer in Tulsa. I can only imagine how that might have changed things. Now, meth production was also extremely rampant in the early 2000s that local news often reported on explosions from home labs. And for one only final bit of interesting info, Tulsa has a network of underground tunnels that were originally built during Prohibition. In 2004, urban explorers and ghost hunters loved to sneak in them and share their creepy stories about seeing shadowy figures or hearing old bootlegger echoes.
Ooh.
Up next, they meet in cyberspace.
He was fishing for women on the internet.
Rebecca had sent some suggestive pictures of herself.
They make plans to meet face to face.
Okay, I know the intro has been pretty light up until now, but I have to make a really serious point. Never is it okay to cover a murder case on your television show and the first images you show being intimate photos of the victim. Mind you, these are also images that the victim never consented to being shown on national TV, of course. This is how I know without a doubt that the producers only cared about the sensationalism of true crime stories and not about the horror the victims went through or the trauma and heartbreak that the families are still enduring. I had to just point out that because I just never want anyone to think that we support that kind of content, and she deserves someone to be pissed off about that on her behalf because they show some pretty suggestive photos of her right out the gate.
Totally. We are now told that every crime that occurs these days probably has a digital component. This sounds very normal to us in 2025, but back then this was still new to people and new to investigators. So the numbers we're actually told are, on average, 911 dispatchers in Tulsa, Oklahoma receive about 3,000 emergency calls a night. That is a lot to deal with, and I'm not sure I could ever handle a job like that. Anyways, one night they got a call about a fire that sounded routine, but it turns out to be so much more than that.
I can see flame, but I can't really see smoke. I mean, the back of the house is lit up. And what's your name? My name's Kenneth. Kenneth, where are you calling from? Cell phone. I was on my way home from my friend's house.
The 911 operator told Kenneth to stay on the line as firemen raced to the scene. Then something strange happened.
It appeared that there was some sort of interaction with somebody maybe that was walking up to him.
Is that fire in there? Huh? Okay. Okay. Hello? Hello?
When firemen arrived at the scene, they put out the fire. Then, in a car parked in front of the home, slumped over the steering wheel, they find the man who actually made the 911 call. He was 24-year-old Kenneth Maxwell, and he had been shot to death. He was a truck driver who lived just a mile away. Friends said he was going home from a party when he drove by. He was just being a good Samaritan and became actually the victim. This is why people don't want to help each other anymore.
This actually just happened this past Christmas Eve where I live.
What?
I'm not kidding. Yeah.
Danielle.
I'm not kidding. Not like on my street, but in like our community. A man who looked like he was in distress, someone stopped to help him and he shot them. It was so sad. And one woman unfortunately died on Christmas Eve.
Oh my.
Yeah. To make it all worse, it was near a school where there was a shooting, which is just so sad.
Oh my God.
Years ago, right around Thanksgiving. It's just like one more senseless tragedy the community faced.
That is crazy.
Just like, I hate violence. I hate people who choose violence versus like getting themselves
yeah.
help. Okay, so anyways, once outside the house, firefighters found 2 bodies. A man in the kitchen shot in the head at point blank range, and he's covered up with a rug, which is interesting to me. I've always been told that it shows a sign of remorse, but once you hear about this piece of trash who did this crime, you won't be too sure about that either. So then they find a woman in the back bedroom who is naked and shot several times in the head through a pillow, like someone was trying to muffle the sound. And the victims were quickly identified as the homeowners Rebecca and Fred Barney.
Investigators are not able to find any connection between Kenneth Maxwell and the Barneys, so he really was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. But investigators do learn that Rebecca and Fred Barney had an unusual relationship. After 6 years of marriage, they were actually getting a divorce. It was a very amicable divorce. They had no children together, so they decided to continue to live together and just sleep in separate bedrooms until the divorce was final.
In the dining room, Rebecca's clothing was folded in 2 neat piles.
Anybody that takes their glasses off and puts them on their clothing in the dining room, I'm thinking there's something really went bad here. This is not a voluntary thing. Somebody is forcing Rebecca to do this.
That's when you realize this is not going to be your average murder.
That part is confusing to me. Peter and I have 2 very different ideas of what neat piles of folded clothing looks like. We see the pants and the underwear is still in the pants, like she pulled both down at once and just like lifted her legs out. 0 folding was involved here. Her sweater just looks flat with her glasses on top. So their house overall is a mess. But they, they could be in the process of like separating things and moving, I don't know, but just like separating stuff, moving it to their sides or whatever, so like no judgment there, but there's literally nothing super alarming about the clothes that stood out to me. Like it didn't look like it stood out.
Yeah.
I just didn't see what he was talking about. But anyways, we learned that arson experts determined that the fire in Fred and Rebecca Barney's house was not an accident. The stove was pulled out and the gas line was cut. So this definitely looks like somebody trying to cover up what had just happened in their home. What the killer didn't anticipate was someone driving by and reporting the fire. Sadly, that is what cost Kenneth Maxwell his life, though. But his good deed saved a lot of evidence and potentially brought a really, really dangerous person off the street a lot sooner. Mark Davis has this to say about his late friend.
I remember him mostly for his last act, and that was trying to help somebody in need. That's my first memory of him when I think of Kenneth.
then Sergeant Mike Huff comes in with the most southern of sentiments.
Bless his heart, he saved the investigation.
So the fire department put out the fire, and there was still plenty of evidence for them to analyze and work off of. From the evidence at the scene, it appeared that the killer caught Fred Barney completely off guard. He had been shot once in the back of the head. Fred was wearing pajamas, and it had appeared that Fred had been making a sandwich in the kitchen. This is the second time a man has been in the kitchen making a sandwich in the wrong kitchen at the wrong time.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you remember that?
Yeah, Lonnie Jr.
Yes,
Sr.,
yes.
that episode, funeral services.
Yes.
His brother, just came in the middle of the night
Yeah.
to his brother's house.
Yeah.
Where he was driving through town to another for work or something, made himself a sandwich and just left without ever checking on anyone or realizing his brother was dead in the other room, right? And then he was a suspect, but he didn't do it.
Well, Fred Barney,
that was wild.
He was killed.
Well, yeah. But guys, your sandwiches can wait until the
Sandwiches can
morning.
wait. Don't go for those midnight snacks. Well, according to investigators, there was no real sign of a struggle. Rebecca's body was found in the bedroom. She had been shot numerous times, leading them to believe that she had been the primary target. He put a pillow over her face and shot her more than once, but then only shot Fred once. He shot her 3 times, and they're still saying this shows that he is pissed at her. How do they even know that?
I think it's behavior.
Oh.
The execution style bullet to kill Fred was to eliminate his physical threat of being in the home.
Oh.
So he could do what he really came there to do, and that was to commit horrible crimes against Rebecca.
Right.
So you see that she gets the more violent attack, which leads investigators to believe that she was the target of his aggression.
Got it.
And the motive of the crime.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So then our favorite tests are back.
Ballistic tests. When that ballistic audio came through the episode, I was like, I can't hear it. I can't not hear it anymore, what I came up with. Ballistic tests.
I can't. No, me neither.
It's gonna be one of our shirts for our merch for sure.
Ballistics. That's all it is to me now. That's all I see. It's all I hear. It just makes more sense.
It does.
All right.
Maybe I'll submit that to the dictionary.
Total sarcasm. Ballistics. Ballistics. See, I have to actually work hard to say it right. They are not our favorite in the slightest. The bullets revealed that all 3 murder victims, Kenneth Maxwell, and Fred and Rebecca Barney, were all killed with the same .22 caliber weapon. So the lack of forced entry is a clue that Fred and or Rebecca knew the killer. Then Peter says,
First glance, it appeared nothing had been stolen. The victim's money and credit cards were untouched.
Y'all, they showed us the messiest dresser with pennies on it. Look, money is money.
Money is money. We'll take what we can get.
No judgment, but that does not tell me that it is not a robbery because they left pennies.
Right. I mean, if I was robbing a place, I don't think if I saw pennies, I'd be like, oh yeah, I gotta take those.
Detective Roger Smith tells us that, look, there's a TV right there in the living room too, to prove that it's not a robbery. And it's that is a black TV.
Yeah, I don't know if I would take that either.
Anyone born before 2000 knows how heavy those things were. He was setting that house up to explode. We don't need to waste any precious airtime with you explaining to us why he didn't take a 1,000-pound television or a pile of pennies. Okay?
Okay, well, wait, Danielle. In a back bedroom, something was missing. The computer tower was gone. Children, gather around, and we will tell you about computers of yesteryear. A 2004 computer tower is basically a large, chunky gray box that sounds like a jet engine when it's taking off, holds about 12 viruses, and runs The Sims 2 like it's performing brain surgery. It had more wires than your ex's excuses and needed 10 minutes to warm up. Just like your car in winter, no RGB lights, no aesthetic, just pure beige commitment.
Nailed it. If anyone needs help on their history papers, we are looking for paying jobs because this does not pay.
Yeah. I mean, there's ChatGPT in the world, so no one's going to use this, Danielle.
ChatGPT did write that description, actually.
I'm dead. We can't use that.
Okay, well, taking that grayish digital block was the murderer's demise because it was the biggest giveaway. Clearly, there is something on there he didn't want police to find.
On the night of the murders, investigators discovered Fred and Rebecca were seen together in a bar called Arnie's, a regular hangout of theirs which looks like my worst nightmare. But like in all of England, that's just what a pub is, and that's all there are. Witnesses said they were with a man no one at the bar had ever seen before. They described him as a really tall guy. Oh, but she introduced him to everyone as her new internet boyfriend. Something tells me that was just as cringe then as it sounds now. Could you imagine if I was at a bar with you and there was a guy there and I was like, hey, this is my new internet boyfriend. Name? I don't know. But he is my internet boyfriend. Could you imagine? Like, that's how I introduce someone. I don't know his name. Sorry. But he's my new internet boyfriend.
Sorry,
Good.
This is my internet.
Because then I'm going to go on to describe him as... Never mind. You go. Okay, keep going.
Brenson said that Fred looked tired and disinterested. Y'all, this man is so over this woman, but total green flag for him to be there to make sure that she is safe and comfortable to meet this guy. He knew immediately that he was a total loser, and apparently he did not hide his feelings. Rebecca didn't introduce the man to acquaintances by name. She did introduce him with one other nickname. Drew, please do the honors.
Hey, this is my 10-inch cowboy. So she not only doesn't introduce his name, she says, this is my internet boyfriend. Oh, his name? I don't know. But this is my 10-inch cowboy. This poor guy is just like sitting there like, okay, 10 inches. What am I to do with that? Can't fight that. Cowboy, can't fight that either. Why am I here? This is my 10-inch cowboy.
Well, something goes very, very wrong, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
We had our laughs because I was just picturing Drew doing it.
I mean, I would probably do it. Because you know what? The funny thing is, I'm terrible at names. I can't remember a person's name for the life of me. So I would probably say, this is my internet boyfriend. Don't know his name, but he's a 10-inch cowboy. Because that's his description on Hinge. You would look at me like I was a fucking lunatic.
You know what? Memorable. That's how we'd remember him.
Expected.
There we go. Expected.
Okay.
So, okay. Again, laughing at ourselves. We are laughing at ourselves. I'm reminding myself.
At ourselves. Only because I would do the same thing.
Exactly. Okay. Witnesses state that the three of them left the bar at closing. The bar was only 5 minutes from the Barney's house, so if Arnie's closes around 2 a.m. and the fire is being called in at 3:11 a.m., what happened between the time they left the bar and that hour before the fire is called in?
They had no name for this cowboy, no idea where he was from. But at Rebecca Barney's autopsy, the medical examiner determined that she'd been sexually assaulted, but collecting a biological sample wouldn't be easy. We meet Steve Kunzweiler, the prosecutor, who tells us,
Miss Barney was on her menstrual cycle, and so there was so much of her DNA that it was literally overwhelming the other contributing DNA that we were finding.
Fortunately, a quick-thinking paramedic at the scene had swabbed parts of Rebecca's body while others were trying to save her life. They recognized that this was a crime scene and thought, what if there's DNA? Well, turns out, yes, there was. Saliva that was both on Becky's neck and on her breasts.
But when the DNA profile was put into the National DNA Database of known criminal offenders, investigators encountered another setback. They did not get enough markers to work to compare it to the database. So this was 2004, and DNA technology has come a long way since then. So we have to keep that in mind. Investigators then turned to the computer that had been stolen from Fred and Rebecca's home, and that's when they find several emails Rebecca had printed.
printed.
And listen, this is why Kenneth Maxwell is such a hero for calling in the fire. Had these gone up in flames, think of how much longer this case could have taken to solve.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. One was from a man with an unusual screen name. Back to the AAM screen names again. His was Cowboy for You 67. Not 69, 67. But I bet you he actually was intending to put 69, but he actually wrote 67.
I bet.
Anyways, the printout showed that Rebecca and Cowboy for You 67 had exchanged suggestive pictures over the internet. Stop showing her photos. I'm not meant to see that, and no one wants to see that. It's crazy.
Right, and if you're going to show hers, show his, you know?
Yeah, and the 10 inches.
Yeah, because you know what? I bet it's not 10.
I bet you he's overcompensating.
Hers were considerably more modest than his.
He attached a picture of apparently himself, a picture of his penis with a ruler right next to it.
Yeah, do this woman some justice. Instead of that, let's
Yeah.
take out like her personal photos. She's a total smoke show, by the way. Like she's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
she's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
she's gorgeous. But let's just put this little peen,
Micro
yeah,
peen.
micro peen, and a ruler, and let's show that he was not a 10-inch
Yeah.
cowboy.
But we never get to see.
I want that photo.
Unfortunately.
In one of the emails that I viewed, it was sad because you could tell that Rebecca was trying real hard. She was lonely, kind of a lost soul.
Fuck off. She was single and having fun, and the only one who sounds lonely and lost is you, Sergeant Mike Huff. So we stopped and we took a screenshot of some of these text exchanges and how this loser described his wiener, and he deserves every ounce of embarrassment.
There he blows, the big cannoli. Ask and ye shall receive, darling.
Savage Becky renames it. Little fella. Ah, how cute. Investigators were fairly certain these were from the man with Rebecca and Fred at the bar on the night of their murders. To find out, investigators turned to the Tulsa Police Cyber Crimes Unit. Then, sounding like this was back at the turn of the century, Detective Scott Wainzer says,
I'd venture to say every crime that occurs these days probably has a digital component. There's going to be some type of communication utilizing the internet or some type of cell service.
A court-authorized search revealed that the person using the screen name Cowboy for You 67 met someone new online just 3 days before the murders, a person with the screen name Wild Ivy 2003. They find out who Wild Ivy is. It's Becky. Cowboy for You 67 was identified as James Kidwell, a 31-year-old computer science student who lived in Gore, Oklahoma, about a 90-minute drive from the murder site. He's divorced, he's got 2 kids, he's having some money issues, so he's living at home.
a year earlier, Kidwell had been questioned but never charged in a domestic violence incident. He had a warrant in relation to slashing tires of an ex-girlfriend. I'm actually surprised there was a warrant for that. We always hear about abusers doing some horrific, brutal things to their partners and never facing any charges. So it's nice to see that they were actually taking this seriously, I guess.
Yeah. And when police notified law enforcement in Gore, Oklahoma that they had planned to arrest James Kidwell, the Gore PD, they actually pulled Kidwell over on some unrelated charges. Police found a loaded rifle in his car, which was a weapons violation. So now he's arrested, and when asked if he had knew Rebecca Barney, he told them he didn't know anyone by that name. But, baby, we got the receipts, Jimmy.
The next part is so scary. When James Kidwell was arrested for the murders, he was with a young woman he'd met online less than 12 hours after the crime. When questioned, she told police she immediately regretted dating him. She said he always carried a loaded gun, which terrified her, and it seemed like he just kind of invaded her life super fast, and she was too scared to set any boundaries with him or cut him off for fear of what he might do. Her intuition was right on that one. That's so scary.
Totally. Kidwell lived with his mother. Inside, police didn't find the murder weapon or the computer stolen from the Barneys' home, but the hard drive on Kidwell's computer showed numerous contacts with many women. But he'd only deleted one series of files, the messages with Wild Ivy 2003, Rebecca Barney's screen name. The evidence showed Kidwell met Rebecca online just 3 days before the murders, and during that time exchanged more than 70 emails. I mean, that is very fast for those days. Like 70 emails.
I know. Or
in 72 hours?
Or were people only familiar with in-person interaction that it seemed less threatening than it does today? You know?
Didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Well, the day before the murders, Rebecca gave Kidwell her telephone number. After the murders, all communication stopped. Big giveaway here.
They say it's totally inconsistent behavior, but I'm going to play both sides here, okay? I agree, but like just to think both sides. Then I thought, as someone who has been ghosted more times than I'd like to admit, like if I'm thinking as a defense attorney, a defense attorney that I never became, I feel like you could easily justify that as like, okay, he's no longer interested, right? Like they were only messaging for 3 days. Yes, it was like hot and heavy, whatever, but he was chatting with like a lot of other women, right? So he's like clearly total trash. And I wouldn't put it past someone like him to be like, I didn't like what I saw, you know, and I moved on. However, he totally screwed himself on all the other evidence. But I'm just saying, like on this circumstantial piece alone, I kind of think it's like one of the weaker pieces of evidence. But like it doesn't look good for him either way. But I'm just saying like this piece, you know?
Yeah, I do agree with that. But the stronger evidence is definitely in his computer, because despite all of his claims that he didn't know who Rebecca was, Kidwell's computer showed he had a keen interest in her murder. Someone using that computer for several days after the crime was looking up news stories to see what the latest news was on the crime. They say that Kidwell was confronted with this cyber evidence, and he begins to change his story. He admitted knowing Rebecca Barney and admitted that he was hoping for a sexual encounter, but then said when Fred Barney accompanied them to the bar, it was clear to him that the date was going nowhere. He told police that him and Rebecca and Fred did go to Arnie's bar that night, but he was only there for probably 5 to 10 minutes before he left, and then he headed back to Gore, Oklahoma.
Okay, so now we'll get into the evidence of it all. The ballistic testing revealed that Kidwell's .22 caliber rifle was not the murder weapon, but records showed that Kidwell also owned a .22 caliber handgun, which police were unable to find. So even though they couldn't find the gun, the circumstantial evidence of him owning the same type of gun that was the murder weapon is admissible in court.
In Kidwell's dryer, investigators found 2 shirts. Although they had been washed, they still contained rust-colored stains. Despite being washed and dried, analysts were able to obtain DNA from the stains and generate a profile.
That is wild to me.
Yeah.
So they could not exclude Rebecca Barney from being a contributor to that profile. And only 1 in 12,000 individuals in the general population would match that profile.
But was Kidwell's DNA at the crime scene? The profile from saliva on Rebecca's body was very weak, so analysts returned to the DNA from Rebecca's rape kit. Because she was menstruating, the DNA was predominantly female.
But there were minute amounts of male DNA too. This time, analysis used the process called YSTR, which zeroes in on one part of the sample, the Y chromosome, which only men have.
When you're looking at a sample that has a large amount of female DNA and a very small amount of male DNA, it's like a needle in a haystack technique.
Unfortunately, there was enough to generate a profile, and it matched James Kidwell's.
Then Peter says,
investigators were convinced that on the night of the murders, James Kidwell was primed for a torrid sexual encounter.
What the fuck is a torrid sexual encounter? What? Torrid. It makes me think of Bring It On. Toros.
I know.
But
okay.
obviously that's not correct. But
so like,
go on.
I looked it up.
Tell me what it means.
And the dictionary literally says very hot and dry.
What?
Peter, darling, I do not know who wrote your script. Like, I hope hot and dry sexual encounters never find you. As for James Kidwell, may his sexual encounters always be miserable, hot, and dry.
Here is the Forensic Files theory on the murders of Rebecca and Fred Barney.
As a precaution, Rebecca asked her estranged husband to accompany her on her first meeting with Kidwell, her new internet fling.
He did so reluctantly, since he'd just returned home from a business trip. The evidence shows that when he returned to the Barneys' home, Fred went to his room and changed into his pajamas.
Prosecutors believe that Rebecca refused Kidwell's advances either because she didn't like him, because of her having her menstrual period, or both. She didn't need a reason.
Regardless of the reason, Kidwell got angry and left, but not before getting a .22 caliber handgun from his car.
By this time, thinking Kidwell was gone, Fred was in the kitchen making a sandwich, but Kidwell came back and shot him at point-blank range.
He then forced Rebecca to take off her clothes, assaulted her in the bedroom, then killed her.
To cover up the crime, he pulled the stove from the wall, cut the gas line, and started the fire.
He left with Barney's computer, thinking he was removing all the evidence.
Kenneth Maxwell drove by on his way home from a party, saw the flames, and called 911.
When Kidwell saw this, he shot Maxwell too.
Police never recovered the Barney's computer or the murder weapon.
But Kidwell left plenty of electronic and biological evidence behind.
The thing that sticks out about this case to me more than anything is Kenneth Maxwell and the sacrifice that he made for being a good citizen.
In 2004, he was convicted of 3 counts of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole, but I need to know, are there any updates with this one? Because this has just been crazy.
Yes, a quick one. So from ForensicFilesNow.com, as of 2025, James Jimmy Kidwell remains incarcerated at the Mac Elford Correctional Center in Stringtown, Oklahoma, serving 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole for the 2003 murders of Rebecca Barney, her estranged husband Fred Barney, and the Good Samaritan Kenneth Maxwell. Now, justice sometimes comes in unexpected ways, but this is a real treat to hear.
Okay.
While looking up other podcasts that may have covered this case, I found one titled...
No. No.
I can't even read it. The Toothless 10-inch Cowboy.
I'm screaming. I'm screaming.
I quickly ran to Google to verify, and the internet did not let us down. According to reports, by 2006, Jimmy, who had originally only had about 14 teeth, had lost all his teeth and thereafter made multiple attempts to be granted dentures. However, in 2014, the state denied his request, citing that he maintained sufficient weight, indicating he could eat without artificial teeth.
Fuck you, you 10-inch cowboy.
Sometimes you don't always see when karma comes back around, and sometimes you do.
Oh my god,
The
that
toothless
is brilliant.
cowboy. The toothless cowboy.
The toothless 10-inch cowboy. Wow.
Now for our missing person case we would like everyone to know about.
From the Black and Missing Foundation's website is the case of Dulce Maria Alaves. She was last seen on September 16th, 2019, and her age now would be 11. The photo that we are going to show is an age-progressed photo to 9 years old. She was last seen in the area of Bridgeton City Park in Bridgeton, Cumberland County, just before 5 p.m. There is very little evidence of what happened to Dulce, but authorities believe that she may have been lured into the back of a red van by a Hispanic male about 5'8". The man is estimated to have been 30 to 35 years old and has acne. She was last seen wearing a yellow shirt with a koala bear on the front, black and white pants, and white sandals. She is Hispanic, her complexion is light, her height is 3'5", her weight is about 40 pounds, her hair color is black, and it is shoulder length. Her eye color is brown.
If you have any information about the disappearance of Dulce, call NCMEC at 1-800-THE-LOST, 1-800-843-5678. The Bridgeton City Police Department at 856-451-0033, or your local FBI field office at 800-225-5324. Our next episode is Season 1, Episode 10, titled Insect Clues, and it is a nightmare.
It's so gross. It's so
It is gross, 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 gross. Warnings all around. They blur nothing.
Literally
they
nothing.
They show everything. I am just so sorry for the victims, the families. I'm not ready for this one. Like, look, I appreciate Forensic Files. I appreciate true crime content all around because I believe it has educated me on so many things. It has kept me safe over the years. I believe that. Like, I've learned so much through sharing these stories. I held space for like what the victims have gone through at the cost of having to teach us stuff from their tragedies and their trauma. Like, I don't take that lightly for 1 second. But that's why I have to call out like the times when like a deliberate choice is made to sensationalize the content for entertainment at the cost of a victim's dignity. I am not trying to be holier than thou over here. I just don't want to be complicit with it either.
Yeah.
Sharing these stories is how we take like power from the predators. Okay, keeping us naive isn't the answer either, but like recognizing the cost that was made for the story to be shared. That always has to be the number one priority as storytellers. So let's remember that.
Let's remember that.
Respect that.
Especially when we go into the next one.
And please don't show me so many bugs.
I know.
Please don't show me so many bugs.
If you like our podcast, please help us spread the word, share on social media, share on Reddit, share everywhere, and drop a review to tell us what you think.
Until the next one.
Bye!
Make it just really, really small, and then the windows will get smaller and smaller, and we can still see each other and yourself.
Okay. So what? Don't make fun of me.
I'm not. Oh, sorry. I got really excited. I don't know what this was. And then I felt really insecure.
Bulletistic text. No. Bulletistic text. Shit, I said it again.
So we stopped and took a screenshot of some of the text exchanges and how this loser described his wiener, and he deserves... Sorry, wiener's such a funny word.
You know, in the UK, they say willy.
Oh my god, no they don't. That's so weird.
Yeah, that's just how they say it. They say willy.